Hi, I'm Dan Cox, and this is your MMA update. Again, performance-enhancing drugs steal the spotlight. I mean, it's taken over the news media. We're hearing about it again, and it's a punishment phase this time. And listen, it's bugging me, the punishment to Hector Lombard, and yet we hear nothing about the best of all time, Anderson Silva, or even Nick Diaz. Man, what's your play on that?
Well, Nick Diaz, I mean, he only tested positive for marijuana. That's the least of my worries in this sport. I'm looking more at the fact of, Anderson Silva tested positive for PEDs. Now it's gone in front of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. It's gotten an extension, whereas Hector Lombard, his came out for him right away, 1-year suspension, $69,000 in fines. $69,000 in a year suspension. I mean, these guys don't make a ton of money to begin with. That has to hurt. But my whole perspective on it is the fairness. Where is the fair play in this? Here's a guy who's now suspended for a year, fines $70,000 just about, as opposed to Anderson, who's still possibly going to be able to fight on top of
maintaining his win. He
could walk with the win.
Yeah. And listen, I don't have a problem with Hector's punishment. I have a problem with the lack of punishment with Anderson Silva and the fact that it's not dealt out equally. The punishment has to be the same whether you are the superstar of the UFC, possibly the best of all time. Now that's really been tainted. A lot of guys have come out and spoke to that. But the fairness of equal punishment, it has to be there. You have to lay it out. It has to be an immediate, and you have to know the consequence when you're caught. And PEDs is a loose term, right? Diaz, he's got an illegal substance. It's not a PED, although it's illegal and it's banned through the Nevada Athletic Committee. That doesn't really matter. It's still illegal, but we're talking about steroids, not PEDs. Multiple steroids Anderson was on. He tested positive prior to the fight. He tested positive after the fight. And we're talking about a guy that's on steroids that might maintain the win. I mean, it's ludicrous to me that he would maintain a win. And then the fact he gets an extension. What is this extension for? And why is it that Anderson feels he's going to be fighting again before the end of 2015?
Well, in my opinion, the extension is there to kind of have everybody forget what happened and what went on. It gives you time in between to get your story straight, to try to figure out an excuse as to why, it came up in your tests. Like in Hector Lombard's case, he's trying to put it off on a female fighter in Canada that he was in camp with, gave him a packet of a supplement, and, he took the supplement unknowingly that there was some stuff in there that was considered a PED or a steroid that was, on the banned substance list. And, that's just a crock to me. In my opinion, if you're a fighter, you should know what's going into your body, especially in this day and age where everything's right in front of you. There's no excuse. Make no mistake about it. There's no excuse. You knowingly put this stuff into your body. It doesn't happen by accident. That may have been a good excuse 10 years ago. It's not happening anymore. Everybody knows what goes in their body these days.
Well, it speaks to character to me. I mean, listen, you've got to man up. Even Anderson Silva still denies the fact that he's ever in his life done steroids. It's already proven he's done it. It was in his body. And with Hector, it's a sad thing because, listen, you're not going to be ingesting these drugs in your drink. That's not the way that they're administered. Most of the times you're looking at an injection. And so, to deny, and we had spoke about something about this earlier with Jose Canseco coming out and admitting when he was busted. The fact is, listen, you're caught, guys. Admit it. It speaks to your character. Move on, and let's do something about it in the sport. Let's start putting equal punishment. I don't care if you're Anderson Silva or if you're the first-time fighter in the UFC. That punishment should be straight. It should be right across the board for everyone, and it's not. UFC's making a big move. We were talking about it earlier. Where's their responsibility in this? Well, it's their business, right? And when their business is being affected by this, they have to, from a business side, get a hold of it. And to me, I love they came out with these rules that what they wanted to do as far as penalties and so forth. And then what happens? Their talk is just talk, because what are we seeing? The opposite, an extension for Anderson Silva. It really bugs me. It really does. And I wonder how many fighters out there are looking at this, that maybe are elite fighters and up there in the class with, let's say, the top guys, the Anderson Silvas. And they're thinking, hey, maybe I could use, and if I get caught, hey, I'll get an Anderson Silva penalty. Well,
it's definitely being looked at from these upper echelon guys like Ben Askren and GSP and Tito Ortiz, Derek Brunson. These guys are coming out and saying, it's got to stop. They all know what's happening. They're guys that are straight up. They've never tested dirty. They're straight up guys. They come to fight clean and fair. And that's the difference. It has to be a fair ground of fighting, because, let's face it, you're not hitting a baseball. You're hitting someone in the face. You're punching someone in the face. You're putting someone else's life on the line. And by you doing this extracurricular stuff to make yourself stronger, to make yourself faster, I don't buy any of the crap about, taking it to make your muscles heal faster or anything like that. These guys are knowingly taking this stuff to get an edge on their competition. That's the only reason they're taking it. Oh, yeah. They're not taking it to rehab any kind of muscle. They're taking it to get that edge over a competitor that otherwise they wouldn't have an edge on. Yeah. And that's the reason these guys do it. They get up in age and they can't compete at that level anymore. And that's the reason why that they do it. They do it for that reason and that reason only. And then to make excuses for it is actually a smack in the face, not just to other fighters, but to us fans as well.
Well, that's beyond a doubt. I mean, it's ridiculous. And, as far as what the steroids and the drugs do, it makes them heal faster from their exercise, from their workouts, not from injuries. You're able to work out harder, longer, you recover faster, etc. But, it's just gotten to the point now where if you don't make an example of the people that are using, after the big statements about their new policies and what they're going to do, really, you lose credibility, in my opinion. And the UFC is going down that path. And listen, people will say, well, it's the Nevada Gaming Commission, the athletic commission that is giving them the extensions. That's true, but you know what? To think that the UFC doesn't have pull there, it would just be a dumb statement to make, in my opinion. I mean, the UFC controls every aspect of everything that goes on. It's like Vitor Belfort for me, because the guy is caught in the mid-2000s cheating, using steroids. Once that happens in Vegas, you're not supposed to get a TRT exemption. The guy gets the exemption, then he's caught later testing positive, out of competition, and then now he's going out talking about how he feels about it. To me, it's a smack in the face. It's hypocrisy at its worst, and I really hope something is done about it. Because listen, if we're not going to put equal playing field for these guys out there, we're not going to treat them equally. That's going to be a problem, and it is a problem. We're seeing it right now.
Yeah, I just don't want the sport to become tainted the way baseball did with their whole steroid debacle. I just don't want to see it happen to this sport. It's a great sport. It's by far my favorite sport. I just want to see fairness across the board, like you said earlier. I want to see a guy test positive, and this is what your punishment is. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Doesn't matter who you are. Like I said, what your drawing power is, how much money you're bringing to the table. It's all about fairness, and it should be about fairness. Like I said, you have guys in the sport that for their entire careers have fought on the up and up. Never did anything, never tested positive, and you want to know what? It's not fair to them. It's not fair to their legacy. It's not fair to me as a fan who shells out money to watch these guys fight. It's just not fair in general.
No, you're right, and it's all the way around. It's not fair. It's not fair to the fighters that are being punished. The guys like Anderson Silva are kind of, you know, they're getting a chance to maybe build a defense, to maybe come up with an excuse that's doable, and it's a business thing for the UFC. And like I said, I lose respect when I see that happening.
Look at Pat Haley. Pat Haley, here's a guy who tested positive for just a little bit of marijuana in his system.
Nanograms.
And he was exiled from the UFC and fined $130,000. And that was just for a little bit of marijuana. And that was right when he got caught. Yep. Now you've got Anderson Silva, who tested positive for steroids. And not just one steroid. He tested positive for 2 different types of steroids. So there's no way that mysteriously just got into his system by accident. Or he unknowingly got it into his system. He did it. He needs to own up to it. And there needs to be a punishment for this guy somewhere along the lines of Hector Lombard's or Pat Haley's. And that's my opinion on that, brother.
Yeah, well, you know what, Bum? I agree, and I think that we're going to see something, because there's going to be noise about this. I mean, Hector's not going to just take it lying down either. I think he was treated unfairly just from the aspect of the way Anderson's being treated now, you know. Listen, I want to get everybody to go down there and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bum, and get them involved where they can come and leave some comments. You know, if you guys can just go down there, tell us what you think. How do you feel about the steroid issue? How do you feel about, you know, Anderson Silva and the way he's treated, how Hector was treated? What would you like to hear us talk about on our next show? And if you're not on Twitter, or if you're on Twitter, go to Combat Circle. I mean, that's where Bomb runs that baby, and we talk only fights. Leave some comments there. Let us know how you feel. Man, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys want to hear us talk about on our next show. So for LUB-MMA, for my good man Bomb, I'm Dan Cox, and this is your MMA Update.